Hi, this is Chandrasekar welcoming you to another delightful part of our South Asian programming. This is coming to you on AT and Asian Television Network. We are delighted to welcome to the program a very distinguished guest of international stature, Mr. Prem Sagar. Prem, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Shan.
How's Papaji, by the way?
Papaji is as young as ever. He beats us in all energy levels.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Well, for the benefit of viewers, as we mentioned, Prem Sagar is the illustrious son of Mr. Ramayan Sagar, who doesn't require introduction at all. He's an absolute household name on a worldwide basis in the Indian film industry. He's considered one of the fathers of the Indian film industry. Prem, our hearty congratulations to you. After the great success of Ramayan and Krishna, you're now coming up with another mega serial, I believe. Tell us about this. This has become the talk of the town in India. I understand you've hit 7.5 on the TRP scale already in India, I believe. Tell us about it.
I know there is some kind of a grace, some kind of a power which helps the family. I have not been able to analyze till now, but God is kind, and we have so much of love from our viewers and people that it is difficult to give them back. इतनी जोली नहीं जो समा जाए इनका प्यार.
Oh, that's wonderful.
You see? Of course, from a long time we've been wanting to do something on the living goddess. If you see the other gods and goddesses, or you take Bhagwan, Ishwar, Devi, Devta, Gandharva, Kinnar, Dhanav, Gan and others, except for Vishnu who incarnates and Shiv who destroys, these are the two basic lineage. But there is no, and you cannot see them. You have never seen them. You only heard the mythology. But there is one goddess which has descended from the heaven to the earth, and you can still see it. And that living goddess is Ganga.
That's wonderful.
So the idea was from a long time as a family to do something which connects the heaven and the earth, and you can actually feel it. And all of us somewhere are guilty, somewhere we have some problem, we don't want to reveal it to somebody else, we want to keep it to our own self. And you can go to Ganga Maiya, and like a mother, she takes you in her lap and she washes all your sin. That is why it is called Jai Ganga Maiya. तेरी शरण में जो भी प्राणी आया उसका बेड़ा पार लगाया गंगा मैया. The curtain raiser was 7.4.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. And that also on the people's meter,
Just for the Western viewers, 7.4, what does it translate it in terms of the number of viewers in the Indian subcontinent?
It could be around, about say about 100 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But that is the curtain raiser, Shan. It has just touched the 11.5 TRP on the people's meter on TAM, which is say like about 135 million, 140 million, the 4th episode.
My God.
So it's been very nice, and we as a family, the company is the company started in 1950. Till about 1980 we were making motion pictures.
Right.
And
great pictures, of course.
Well, it's the audience who have to judge it, but yes, they received some of the biggest blockbusters on the Indian scene, like Arzu, Aankhein, Geet, Charas, Bagawat, big blockbusters.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Almost, say 80-90% of them were big blockbusters.
Right.
Yeah. And then we went into television. We started Vikram Betal as a road show, as an acid test, whether this kind of things will be accepted, not accepted. But when we went into television, it was a very calculated idea. Actually, we were shooting in France, in late Deblek here. We were shooting Charas with Dharmender ji and Hema ji. And we first time saw color television. Papaji, my father, and we 4 brothers. And we were just taken aback, and we were looking and looking and looking. And amazing, the kind of reach it could have and the kind of impact. That is when as a family we decided that this is the medium of the future. That is way back in 1975.
Fantastic.
But it took us about 15 years to wind up our operations because we were very deep rooted all over India, with distribution offices, production offices, productions on, distributors commitments and things like that. Somewhere in, you can say early 80s, we were, absolutely sure that this is where we belong. And as a family, we were quite criticized, initially. It's like suddenly the Warner Brothers shut off their film section and they're only going to TV.
Right.
So the industry was not very happy with us, as a major family or a major production house, shifting to TV. We stopped the film division.
Right.
But we were not sure whether, these kinds of things like 2,000-year-old stories or 10,000-year-old stories or epics or fantasies will be accepted by the Indian audience or not. So we decided to do an acid test or what we call a road show. We made Vikram Betal,
Right.
which was about 2,500-year-old stories of wisdom,
Right.
Indian culture.
Right. And each episode had its own beginning and end as a story.
Correct. And at the end, that Betal asked the question,
Right.
and he has to answer it.
Right.
And you'll be surprised, bookies in India used to ring me up, hey Prem, can you delay the question by about 2 minutes? Hey, what's your problem?
Yeah.
No, our bet goes high
Oh,
during that period.
Interesting.
So Vikram Betal was a big hit, and India Today put it as an electronic special effects on the Indian screen
Right.
by two Sagar brothers.
Right.
They called us the brothers who made the fairy tales, in Holland.
Right.
Yeah. So from Vikram Betal, if you notice, the Vikram became Ram.
Right.
The yogi became Ravan. The prince became Lakshman, and the princess became Sita.
Right.
So that was a road show, and we put Ramayan on.
Which of course changed the history of television in the entire Indian subcontinent and around the world for the South Asian community. For the Indian community,
Yes.
Ramayan was the biggest episode until today. I'm sure it's it's the most memorable long-running format television serial.
जब रामायण टीवी पर दिखाई जाती है, उस समय जैसे सारा की है कि उस रामायण के रचयिता रामानंद सागर का देश के कोने-कोने में स्वागत सत्कार हो।
You remember well, your father, the great Ramanand Sagar, and my father were very good friends in the good old days. And many years ago, before you started the Ramayan series, I had the pleasure as a young man interviewing your father right in your home when he was first drawing the sketches for the Ramayan. For the Ramayan, the first ever script. I want you to watch a little segment with me. It will bring you very nostalgic, pleasant memories. Okay?
Great.
Let's watch that
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
Okay? Again,
That was fantastic.
yeah. Imagine how great your dad spoke at that time, and he said that he was making it prior to making Ramayan, and look how it's turned out, So, I was absolutely thrilled.
People think it was a fluke, but I think it was God's grace. And there was 1941, there was an astrologer by the name of Nityanand. He predicted Ramayan.
I see.
Can you imagine?
I see.
When Papaji was a teenager of some 23 years old.
Right.
To predict Ramayan being made by him
Right.
when he was just a story writer and a journalist
Right.
In Punjab.
Right.
That's amazing.
Right.
You see? And then of course in 75, Mola Sahab, the great astrologer, he predicted Ramayana and Krishna to be made by my father. So I personally feel it was predestined.
Railway stations came to a halt, from what I heard. When Ramayan was telecast, the whole country came to a standstill. I remember days you couldn't phone somebody in their house. The housekeepers won't answer the phone because they're all watching Ramayan. So that's the kind of impact that you made. Now tell me, after the great success of Ramayan, then you embarked on another
I'll
great
just
series.
continue a little. New York Times gave it in the highlights.
Right.
And Nielsen rating it got in New York for the first time.
Right.
Vancouver Sun
Yeah.
said 40% of those viewing were Americans. And BBC has at least had 4 films,
Right.
including the new film called Millennium, out of the events in mankind history which changed mankind,
Right.
one of them is Ramayan in the
Wow.
new documentary called Millennium.
Fantastic.
And as somebody put it, Ramayan has been shown in 5 continents,
Right.
not 5 countries.
Right. Right.
You know?
Right.
So Ramayan had its own, and according to BBC, 650 million viewed Ramayan till today,
Fantastic.
which comes to about 1 in every 5 human beings on this planet Earth.
Fantastic.
You see?
That's great.
Yeah. After Ramayan, we went on to Krishna,
Right, of course.
of course.
Another great
It was-
epic serial, you know.
It was a trilogy, and the trilogy was planned much before we started.
What is
Ramayan.
meant by trilogy?
By trilogy means how many kala avatars there is. For example, one kala jeev is like a stone, is like a rock, is like a mountain.
I see.
It cannot get mukti until there's an earthquake.
Oh, I see.
Then there's a 2 kala jeev which doesn't have lungs, like fish
I
and
see.
things like that. Then there's 3 kala jeev which is like an animal, is a mammal. Yeah, and then 4 kala jeev is manush. Then Vishnu takes avatar as a 8 kala jeev.
Oh, I see.
Between 4 and 7 man can reach because that's his capacity. Like Gautam Buddha may be 7 kala.
I see, I see.
He's reached that kind of nirvana stage almost like a god. You see?
Fantastic.
Then comes different avatars, like a god comes like a fish,
Right.
then god comes like a tortoise,
Dasavatar.
Dashavatar.
Right.
And that is 8, 9, 10, 11.
Right.
11th is Parshuram.
Right.
12 kala is
Kalki.
Ram.
Oh, the one that hasn't come yet is Kalki,
Yeah,
right?
Kalki.
Right.
12 kala is Ram,
I
which
see.
is an ideal man.
Oh, right.
Ideal father, ideal son, ideal husband, ideal lover, ideal ruler.
I see.
Everything is idealized about him.
Wow.
That is the content of Ramayana.
Right.
Then comes 16 kala Sampurna avatar Krishna.
Oh, right, right. right.
Krishna had the emotional, he had the intellect, he had the, that's why the Gita, Bhagavad, because he's from the Moon dynasty.
Right.
And he's 16 Sampurna Kala avatar. So as a trilogy, you go from 12 Sampurna to 16 Sampurna.
Fantastic.
Then you go to Durga.
Oh.
Now, Durga is made out of a divine light of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, then of Indra, then of Brahaspati, then of Shukra. Every of them, they combine their powers
I
and they
see.
make Durga. So it's a
Fantastic.
trilogy.
Fantastic.
So this trilogy was designed long ages back by the family.
I see.
Only thing is we didn't have the means.
Right.
I remember coming to Toronto
Right.
and New York,
Right.
with pamphlets of Ramayan and Krishna. Right. As a family, we want to make this. They just threw us out, kicked us out, saying, "You idiots! You want to lose your balance, you want to lose your money, and you expect us to pump in money and become bankrupt." This is way back in '75.
Interesting. Uh-huh. Tell me something about making mythological serials. I mean, mind you, it's so easy to do soap operas, for the current themes. But when you take a mythological subject, there's a tremendous amount of costumes, continuity, cost of production, mammoth sets, and a lot of tremendous amount of script work is involved, and a lot of research and authenticity is involved. You have become experts in this particular field. Tell me about the inclination towards the direction in terms of bringing all these epics to the general common man in the street.
I'll go a little earlier. First, why? The reason why we want to do this.
Right.
You see, as a family, when we shifted from cinema, we realized the power of television.
Right.
In cinema, I could show my work to 1,000 people, 1,500 people, maybe release 100 prints, and maybe show it to 1 million people at one time.
Right.
But it did not have the power to show 235 million at the same time.
And to reach their living rooms and to reach
Absolutely.
their bedrooms.
And without any cost.
Right.
They're seeing it free in India.
Right.
So the idea was to give them free kind of stuff,
Right.
At the same time, as a family, we realized that there's a tremendous dilution.
Oh, yeah.
In the moral values, it is like a diamond. There's a lot of dust collected. The diamond is there, and you think it is junk. Somebody just comes and wipes the diamond, and you see, wow, this is the biggest sapphire I've ever seen. So all these Ramayan, Vikram Betal, Krishna, Durga, they were all kept there. But as time passed, social problems, mankind's progress
Yeah.
in computer graphics and speed and things like that.
Right.
So these epics became diluted.
Right.
So idea was to bring them back. You must have seen that we have only touched 2 kinds of topics. One is mythology,
Right.
and one is fantasies. But even the fantasy what we have touched is not just pure entertainer.
Right.
It is like a sugar-coated pill.
Yeah, it's thought-provoking.
Thought-provoking.
Especially Vikram Betal, for instance. You know.
Why even Arabian Nights?
Right.
Alif Laila, what we call 1001 Nights, that lamp of Aladdin, which is the magic lamp,
Right.
we didn't project it only as a magic lamp where the jinn comes out. Okay, that's good. You want to see that, see it. Yeah?
Yeah.
But at the end, the princess breaks that lamp because she realizes that power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Right.
And this kind of a power, if it goes into the wrong hand, like his uncle, it can kill mankind. So there's always a moral. And also the tenements of Islam were totally brought in Alif Laila. But in a very entertaining manner, for the children and for things like that.
Right.
So we have only touched fantasies on one side
Right.
and mythologies on the others.
Right.
Keeping this in mind, at present we have 2 studios and one third one is being made specially for Durga.
Fantastic.
Yeah. We can, it's difficult, like supposing the serial is, one episode is going to cost $1 million.
Yeah.
But India cannot afford 1 million.
Right.
We have to do it in say 100,000, that is 1/10 the cost.
Right.
Yeah. Now how do we make it in 100,000, So we have say 100 tailors making 10,000 dresses,
Fantastic.
Then we have 10,000 guys making swords, then we have these spears being made, then we make settings of these forts and palaces and bedrooms and curtains, and it's all in-house.
Wow.
So we can make it at 1/10 the cost where anybody else can make it.
Right.
That is why, keeping the economics of India,
Right.
we can make mythologies big.
Right.
And this fantasy is big.
Right.
So idea is to permanently make a set, keep it.
Right.
Permanently make a dress, keep it.
Right.
The director wants 20 elephants.
Yeah.
He wants 1,000 horses.
Yeah.
He wants 10,000 junior artists.
Right.
I mean, it would be killing to have 10,000 junior artists.
Right.
Other than that, we have, I would say, since all of us, my 4 brothers, my 3 brothers, myself, and Papaji, and now, our children,
Right.
the 3rd generation,
Right.
since all of us are filmmakers,
Right.
Between 4 and 1, 5 and 2, 7 of us, we are 6 directors.
Right.
We are 5 producers.
Right.
We are 1 cameraman. We are 3 writers.
Fantastic.
We are 4 editors, like that. And we are also 2 special effects.
Oh, that's
like
fantastic.
Anand and myself
Right, of course.
are special effects specialists.
Right.
I can make Carol fly up, over Toronto and
Yeah.
come with her camera and looking down like that. And still she's there, yeah?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Idea was that we combined the special effects which were done in 1930s
Right.
and to 1999.
Right.
Yeah. I came to Hollywood.
Right.
I met, I don't remember his name, he's an Italian who's got 3 Oscars. He got an Oscar for White Buffalo, he got an Oscar for E.T., and he got an Oscar for King Kong. I went to his cabin, I held 3 Oscars, I felt top of the world.
Yeah.
I wanted a 10-minute sequence.
Right.
Ganga Maiya sitting on the tiger and she's moving,
Yeah.
Now we wanted him to do, a miniature of the tiger which moves with commands and things like how E.T. moves.
Right.
Yeah? He quoted me $1 million for that.
My God.
And finally came down to 600,000 because, Dr. Durai Raj and others, they walked in, oh, he's a great man and he's doing some great work and and but 600,000, the whole serial is 600,000. I
Yeah.
can't. Finally, I did it for about, say, 5,000 US in India.
Fantastic.
Now, it's not possible
Yeah.
because the economics are like that.
Yeah.
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 Idea was to do glass matting, adding clouds.
Right.
Idea was to do masking.
Right.
Idea was to adding miniature roofs.
Right.
Idea was to shoot miniatures, for actual palaces.
Right.
But some of the effects we even went to computer graphics.
Wow.
Now, if you will see a clip of Krishna, which I have brought for you, in which Krishna shows himself as a Virat roop.
Fantastic.
He goes into the cosmos and goes on and on and on and on.
Wow.
And then different sizes of Krishna come out.
That's fascinating. I'm really fascinated with this.
Yeah.
I think you should show that right now to our audience.
That's right.
Just for the benefit of viewers, we are doing an exclusive special with Mr. Prem Sagar, who is the illustrious son of the world-renowned great Ramayan Sagar. Their work in the film industry doesn't require much introduction. It's well known around the world. Now here he was talking about the great efforts that goes into filmmaking. We want to show you a little glimpse of their outstanding work not only with respect to the pomp and pageantry of the industry itself, but the utilization of special effects. Let's watch Vishwarupa Darshanam of Krishna from his serial. Very noble of you, and it's an absolute pleasure having you in the studio. And I want to wish you and your family the best things in the world, and kind of keep up, keep doing the great things that you're doing, and may God bless you and God be with you.
Param Guruve Mahavatare Baba Trimkai Namaha. I am so happy to be with Asian Television Network today. I don't think there is any second opinion about the lovely work you are doing, Shan. I was, of course, impressed by you even 15 years back. And I was very impressed by Jayaji 15 years back when we met both of you. We found, like every human body has an aura, and the soul has a strength of light. It may have, a voltage of say 230 volts or 4. So when you go to somebody who can see that light and he says, oh, this is 4,000 volt lamp, man, I'm not going to touch it. It's too much of light. Yeah. The moment I had seen you or Jayaji, we realized that you are made of a different metal. And you both are doing a great job, and I think it is in interest of all of us to bring anything good and bring a lot of happiness to mankind, and even entertainment is like fresh air. It's a requirement. It's like water, and I'm sure lot of forces, powers, gurus, devtas, gandharvas, your kuljans, they will all come to your help to continue doing this job. And please accept from my family a lot of goodwill, good luck to both of you.
Thank you so much. We're very honored by your presence here, by the way. And please convey our love to your family.
Thank you. Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Krishna.